Here we go. Ready? Oh, who's better than me? Yeah. All right. Well, I had a pretty good weekend this weekend. I got to devote some time to the pigeonhole assembly. You can see now that I have all the drawers in. This side over here is pretty much cleaned up and fit, but this side I just finished doing all the dovetails and getting them together, and they're still not fit. To be honest with you, I'm getting a little tired of shaping and doing all like this little monotonous kind of stuff. It's been, you know, a little bit of time now, so I think I'm just going to take a little break. Because what I need to do, right, I need to take this pile of wood right here. See this big pile of crap? You know how I always tell you guys to save stuff? All that stuff right there, all this stuff is going to be the drawer bottoms. So I need to pick through this stuff, decide which ones are the cleanest and the whitest. Not that it really matters. I've seen a lot of these interior little drawer bottoms, and they literally just would use scrap the way that I am. So I have some pretty good white stuff here and some good couple pieces here and there, and you know, check this one out. This is a drawer bottom that I made for something else. I forget what I was doing, but I'm going to get 4 drawers out of this one, so I'm pretty psyched. So I'm pretty much just going to spend the rest of today just cutting this stuff up and milling it down to a 1/4 inch, and then I'll show you how I bevel the bottoms and start to fit these bottoms in the drawers. And I'll just go back and forth from doing this and gluing it up and waiting for it to dry back to shaping the front of those drawers. So I'm still making some pretty good headway. I'm feeling pretty good about it. You know, had a theme song of Rocky in my head. You know, I'm building steam, guys. So, feeling pretty good. Looking good, feeling good. Oh yeah, it's on. Hey, what's up? Well, I just want to explain to you, kind of quickly, what's up with these drawer bottoms, alright? You saw me with the pile of junk yesterday, and basically what I did is I milled it down to a 1/4 inch. Now you have to remember, when you go to put any kind of bottoms in, you want the grain to go in the short direction this way. You see what I'm saying? You don't want the grain to be running the long way, you know, on a drawer, because one, it's going to be really weak. So when you start to put stuff in the drawer, if you just have a lot of long grain, it's just going to kind of bow on you, and it's going to, you know, it'll end up rubbing on the bottom of the case, and eventually it's going to break. And it's going to, you know, shrink and contract, expand and contract, whatever, to the moisture in the air. So, you know, it will get tight inside this little groove here, and you know, you don't want that either, because then the drawers are going to be too tight to open up in the springtime, and they're going to rub and blah blah blah. You know what I'm saying? Oh, check this out. You know how I glued that piece on the inside here? It made the bottom run up like a 1/2 inch, which is kind of nice. You know what I'm saying? So it's a 1/4 inch on the top, and now it's, you know, a 1/2 inch on the bottom, which will give it hopefully a little more longevity. But anyways, after I glued up all these pieces, you can see that there's glue lines here and there and everywhere else, right? I had to put a bevel on the back. So I figured out where the bevel needed to go on the bottom to fit inside the groove on the back of the drawer. So once I figured that out, I basically just took this piece of wood and I ran it through the table saw. You know, up on edge, made sure I had like a feather board, I kept it tight, and I just ran it. And then after I ran it, I left it thick. You know, I mean, I left it a little heavy, so I had to go back with my shoulder plane. So I have a little bench dog here. You can see that I made this little bench thing here. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, perfect. So once I cut the drawer bottom on the table saw, I had to fit these, and I just left them heavy. So what I like to do is I like to take a shoulder plane and I just clean up the edge. Okay? So I basically went back and forth until I just cleaned up the whole edge. And then, you know, this thing fits nicely in the bottom. So, you know, you don't want it to be too tight. You know, that's still a little too tight. I'm getting confused. I have too many drawers out here. But anyway. And you don't want it to be too loose either, because, you know, this is kind of important. You don't want this thing to be rattling around inside this this rabbit here. So, alright, that was a little too tight. But you see inside the drawer now? I can't really see. You see inside the drawer, this is the piece that I added on there. And this one right here, you see that line that's nice and tight? You know, you want the bottom to always be tight, so you don't get like junk stuck underneath in between here. You know what I mean? You know, it's nice, and it doesn't make a lot of noise. It doesn't rattle, and it's solid, and it's actually going to be, you know, it's going to make this drawer a little stronger. So, anyways, you see I have the bevel on the bottom. You know, see what I'm saying, guys? So the bevel's on the bottom. It fits inside the groove. You know, and then once I had it here, I just couldn't cut the back of it. I just didn't want to cut the back of it. I needed to put the profile on the front. So I spent a little bit of time, got the profile on the front, and then I had to bevel this profile as well. And then what I like to do, you know, I put the bottom in, obviously. You see how I have that mark still? And you can see it's a little dented. When I push this in, I draw a line to make sure that there's enough meat holding this drawer in. You know, so then I just put it inside, you know, and then I cut it on the bandsaw. I cut this part of, after I had it fit, it was long, I cut it on the bandsaw and then cleaned it up with a plane. And now all I need to do is make a little notch in here, and I'll put a screw in there, and that will basically hold this bottom in for the next 200 years, I hope. So I'm just going to go along and clean up the rest of all these drawer bottoms, get them in, get them close. You can see that this one's fit. You know, I have like 4 of them fit now. So all I need to do is just go along and cut the profile and start fitting these. So hopefully by the end of the day, I can have, you know, some of the drawer fronts, the drawer bottoms in, and then I will just clean up all the drawer fronts, fit the drawers, make them perfect, and the next time you see the pigeonhole assembly, all those drawers will be done. Hey, what do you think of this thing? This is a nice little invention, you know. It's a bench dog. All it is a piece of MDF with a cleat nailed on it, screwed on it, and then there's another cleat on the other side of it. Now this is kind of nice because you just gotta, you know, you put stuff up against it when you want a plane. So you don't have to keep trying to use boards and blah blah blah, you know. It's a bench hook, I think they call it. And I just, you know, whatever. But these things work pretty well. I get tired of using those dogs, and they're always moving around and causing a problem half the time. But this right here, you know, it's good for when I go to plane these drawers down. I just kind of flip it over, and then I know it's not going to go anywhere. So, just a little tip, man. You know, for the 70 seconds it takes you to make it, they're probably worth it. Hey.